On day 1, I spawned into the flowering enchanted grove as Sonic the Hedgehog Dragon. Whoa, I'm a crime against nature. I gotta go fast and also be a dragon. I started zooming around the grove while also being a dragon. Only a baby dragon, mind you. Still, a baby Sonic dragon is better than Sonic that isn't a dragon or a dragon that isn't a Sonic. But my musings were interrupted when a giant praying mantis skittered towards me.
Homewrecker!
What? I don't even know you. And how could I wreck a home? I don't even have a wooden pickaxe yet.
I didn't mean it literally, you scaly hedgehog abomination. I had a happy life with my loving husband until you came along and ran right over him. You ruined my life. So now, over the next 100 days, I'm gonna destroy yours.
But I just got this life. And again, I don't know who you are.
You will. Now scram, you little what's-a-mahoot. Go build a life so I can wreck it, just like you wrecked mine.
On it, ma'am. Wait, why am I taking orders from you?
I have the power to compel lesser beings. Get out of here before I decide to end you right now.
Her argument did definitely seem compelling, so I turned and ran away at, well, not quite the speed of sound, but believe me, it wasn't Dragon. Why does that bug have such a bug up her butt about me? I didn't destroy anyone's husband. If I don't solve this mystery before the 100 days runs out, my life is wrecked. On day 2, I emerged from a hiding place near the flowering trees and went to go search for some food. I hope they have my favorite food here in the flowering enchanted grove. And sure enough, under the canopy of one of the trees was a free pork chop, my favorite food. Everyone knows that Sonic the Hedgehog Dragon loves pork chops, and always has. Seconds after I demolished that tasty treat, a gaggle of green humanoids stepped out from the foliage and punched me. They were wave whispers.
Bro, did you just eat our pork chop? That's so gnarly. By that I mean, that's a thing we don't like very much and wish you hadn't.
Sorry guys, I just can't resist a good pork chop. Everyone knows that about me.
Well, here's something you should know about us. We're gonna bait you up for the pork chop, and because we heard you killed someone's husband.
I didn't do it! But the wave whispers didn't listen and started swinging at me with their oddly plant-like limbs. They might have been tougher and meaner than me, but I could run away faster. As I retreated, I also tripped over a… Huh? What are you? Some kind of giant rodent?
Rodent? Excuse your vocabulary. I am Andreas Davidianus.
In English, please?
Dullard. Now come with me if you want to live.
That, I understand. I followed Andreas Davidius. Yeah, I followed my new friend to the safer part of the grove. On day 3, I accompanied my friend, Andre the Giant, or however you pronounce it, to a small base in a more secluded part of the grove.
Pay attention, young neophyte. Thine may be a Sonic dragon, but thou still have much to learn.
Like what?
Like how to pronounce my name for starters, oaf! But more importantly, thou show all the signs of having encountered a great and twisted evil. I must take you to a trusted associate for evaluation.
Wow, everyone I've met so far is really weird. I wonder if being a Sonic dragon just brings that out in people.
You know you said that out loud, right?
Oh. Not long after, Andy McNabb had escorted me to a cool-looking studio, fit for an equally cool dude.
Here is where I must leave you, for now at least.
Why? Is there some deep, symbolic reason?
No, it can just get a little cramped in there.
I entered and saw Necromancer strumming away at a cool guitar. Oh my goodness, Necromancer! You're a powerful sorcerer who can bring the dead back to life.
No, that's not who I am anymore. I'm now Necromancer, folk singer-songwriter. I don't want any questions about magic, about raising the dead, or any of that stuff. Keep it to the music, man.
Okay. When's your new album coming out?
That Mantis asked me to bring her husband back to life. Makima Mantis is her name, but much like I told you, I don't do that stuff anymore. I don't even talk about it. Anyways, it's a complex ritual, and I still need to master my EP, so I just didn't have time.
Makima Mantis? That's interesting. So what exactly happened to her husband?
I told you not to ask me about that stuff! Keep it to the music!
Oh, sorry. What gets you inspired to write songs?
Makima Mantis is a deceptive being, and I can tell you probably had no part in her husband's demise. Just be wary. She has many abilities, and will likely use them on you if you're not careful. Keep your friends close, and your enemies far away. It's harder for them to get to you like that.
From day 4 to day 5, I remembered that I had a life to build. Makima Mantis said something about destroying all I had built, so I decided I better get building. She may be my enemy, but a Sonic dragon should never disappoint people. I might get to learn more about what happened to her husband, too. I punched branch down a tree to gather wood for my first tools. Crafting a wooden pickaxe had to come first, because that would let me get digging in the mines. My pickaxe crushed through the ground, providing me with plenty of sturdy stone material. I think all this stone would be perfect for a sword. I bet nobody has tried that before. Feeling like a genius, I crafted my groundbreaking stone sword and began to show it off to Andrew David. Yeah, the rodent guy. Check out my stone sword, dude. It's radical.
I've seen better. Perhaps you should build a house before you start swinging stone swords around.
You're on. I can build a house. I can build anything, except for things I can't build. With my new revolutionary stone pickaxe and axe, I gathered more wood and stone from the area in preparation for constructing my home. It would be the best place that a Sonic Hedgehog dragon could ever hope to reside. While searching for materials far and wide, I accidentally fell into a river. There I was swarmed by a group of highly aggressive Picasso triggerfish. Normally I'd be panicking as they chipped away at my health, but I had a stone sword now, so I fought back and defeated them all. Wow, winning feels great. So great, in fact, that I powered up out of baby mode. I now have 20 hearts, and I can make attacks using my dragon calls. Way past cool. But before I forget, let's make ourselves a cozy base. I started to build a lavish base that reflected my inner beauty with a tad of flash, but nothing too flashy. I've never seen myself as an interior designer, but this roof goes really well with the lavender walls. A room here, some walls there. Now that's an aesthetic. From day 6 to day 8, I decided that my journey hadn't been dangerous enough yet, so I hopped through another portal into the Weeping Mire. Wow, this place is horrible. It's great. I decided to explore further, hoping there'd be some cool monsters to fight and some innocents to save. I was half right. In the distance, I saw a screaming crab getting chased around by a terrifying sectoid queen. Looks like I'm not the only one with bug problems. Time to help a brother out. I ran in and faced the sectoid queen one-on-one. She was tough for sure, but with my stone sword and claw attacks, I was soon able to push the horrible creature into the lava where it was burned to a crisp. Haha, saying that will probably scar me for life. After my victory, the crab approached me.
Wuzza, wooza, buzza, booza. That was amazing, pal. How'd you do that?
I just used the inherent strength of my sonic dragon form. Why was that sectoid queen bothering you anyway?
Well, it's a long story, actually. I was minding my own business up in the overworld when suddenly a creeper exploded right next to me. Next thing I knew, I was down here, and a big guy with horns was telling me I'd get chased by a sectoid queen forever as punishment for the things I did in life.
What things did you do in life?
Don't worry about that. Point is, you saved me, and now we can escape this place together.
Heck yeah!
Oi, don't say that here. Actually, come to think of it, I've got a score to settle with an old former work colleague that I did some jobs with. You can help me with that before we escape the mire?
I love helping.
Good kid. You're getting the hang of Omerta already.
From day 9 to day 10, I followed the admittedly kinda sketchy crab further into the heckish waste to take on his bitter old rival.
His name is Puma Concolor, a capo for the Gorgonzola Syndicate, until that big job in Messina went sideways and a skeleton army Valhalla'd him.
Wow, that sounds intense.
It was intense. I feel bad for the guy, but he also has some compromising information about me. I figured if you defeat him down here, it'll completely erase him from all planes of existence, thus sending the information to oblivion with him. You dig?
I think I went forward until I came upon Puma Concolor, who turned out to be a huge, tough cougar. Oh no, I can see why it took an army of skeletons to take you down in the overworld.
Yes, and that was before I bonded my spirit to the mire and developed a whole bunch of new powers, like this.
He blasted a fireball at me and decimated my heart. There was no way I could beat him in this state. I ran back to the crab. Crab, I can't beat him yet. Come back to my place. We'll train there together.
But Zozo, how will we escape the mire?
Somehow. From day 11 to day 12, I somehow made it back to the overworld in one piece. With the crab in tow, I returned to the base and decided it was best for me to stay home for a while. I wanted to focus on less life-threatening things, like home decor.
This is a pretty nice place you've got here, Zozo. It would be a shame if something happened to it.
Something will happen to it. A praying mantis lady said that she would destroy it.
She did? Well then, what are you putting so much work into it for?
Well, Crab, I may not have been around for that long, but I know that life is all about putting 100% of your effort into everything you do, even if you know that it's all doomed to be destroyed in front of you dramatically. automatically.
You're gonna go far, kid. You go see to build my accommodations. I got some ideas of my own. There's gonna be some big changes around here, Zozo. Big changes.
You said big changes twice.
That's how big they are.
Well, I built a room fit for a crab. I looked forward to the big changes that would surely be added to the house. And big they were. There was a training room for all of my athletic training needs. And since I was a Sonic Dragon, most of my needs were athletic related.
But that's not all, Zozo. We've got central heating now.
Crab showed me to the furnace room, which was one more big change that I could agree with. Thanks for the sweet furnace, Crab.
The pleasure is all mine. You know, furnaces come in handy for a lot of different things, Zozo. Don't worry about it.
Rather than ponder the implications of the crab statement, I went down to the mines in search of some iron. Finding it was easy enough, and soon I ditched my stone pickaxe in favor of an iron one. With a bit more iron, I was able to create more iron ingots and make them into a sword. There was one more other big change I needed to attend to thank Crab for all of his services. I built a pool and filled it with cob to eat. No, not corn on the cob, just cob. As in the fish. From day 13 to day 15, I realized that I still needed to get stronger. But I didn't know how to get stronger. And while I had a cool training room, personal trainers weren't easy to come by. Instead, I did the next big thing, going to talk to the Andalorian about it.
That is not my name, knave!
That may or may not be true, Andy, but how do you think I can get stronger?
How can a man become stronger? He needeth a rugged environment to cultivate his inner strength. He needs to face worthy opponents. And most importantly, he needs chemical assistance to reach his full potential, even if it got to be banned from the 1996 Overworld Bodybuilding Competition.
We're still talking about me, right?
Go to the Mojave Desert, Zozo. You will find strength, or at the very least, a lot of sand. Over there!
So I did exactly what he said, and ventured out into the unforgiving heat of the Mojave Desert. There, I knew I'd find some worthy opponents. Or at least, a pretty tough wave whisperer and his friends.
Wow, totally tubular, Dudenheimer. Isn't that the freak of nature that smoked Miss Mackama's husband? Well, you've gotta, totally beat him up, man. She's really torn up about this whole thing.
But I didn't do it, I swear. Why do you always trust everything she says?
She saved all of our lives once. I'm pretty sure. She stopped my house from burning down. She saved Steve's dog from a tree. And she performed first aid when Larry passed out that one time. Clearly, she's in the right, and you're in the wrong. If somebody did a nice thing for us, they can't have done a bad thing to somebody else. That'd be gnarly, in the bad way. Again.
It was clear these guys didn't listen to reason, so with my sword in my claws, I took them all on. They had the numbers, and I had the power, just like I predicted. And once they were defeated, they dropped a special potion, chemical assistance, just like the Andes Mountain Range said. I drank it immediately and felt my power growing. My hearts grew to 40, and I developed a new power, lightning breath. I'm stronger than ever! And to make things better, I now could fly! From day 16 to day 19, I seem to have taken a wrong turn somewhere and found myself in the desolate and ominous mangrove swamp. Am I the only one here? It must be because I'm much braver than anyone who isn't a Sonic Dragon. As I wandered through this strange muddy biome, I came upon a mysterious notebook, mysteriously left right in the middle of my path. How mysterious? I mean, I came all the way out here, might as well read it. I picked up the book and peered inside. Whoever finds this, please, you need to be super duper careful and stuff. Makama Mantis isn't telling the truth about what happened to her family. She's got the wrong person, and she knows it. Oh no, I think she's listening in on me. Oh no, the wave whisperers are here. Ah, please don't beat me up. I'm but a weak nerd with a notebook. No! Man, it seemed like that guy was in a whole lot of trouble.
Well, my righteous bros. What have we here? Is that Zozo Sonic, the Destroyer the Dragon?
You said all the words to describe me. Not sure about the order, but yeah, it's me.
Get him! Beat him up without mercy. For Miss Makama!
The wave whisperers surrounded me, but I was able to repel them with my claws. I backed up and drew my iron sword. Then, I proceeded to wail on them with lightning breaths. True to the name, they were knocked back, and then they were knocked out. From day 20 to day 22, I was in a mining cavern for some reason. I don't even remember how I got there. I hope this isn't a symptom of some kind of serious health issue. Anyway, let's get some more. With the help of my iron pickaxe, I ored and I ored until I couldn't stand it no more, filling my inventory with enough raw iron for a new armor piece. I returned to the base, where I used the useful yet oddly sinister furnace that the crab had created to smelt it into ingots, then made an iron chestplate, which was fashionable as well as protective. It's time to settle an old score. Well, not really one of my old scores, but one of the crabs, which is basically the same thing. Through mysterious methods and processes, I returned to the Weeping Mire. It was time to take on the powerful entity known as Puma Concolor, the Het Cougar.
You never should have come here. You really think you can defeat me? A level 7 Mire Maven?
I'm not even gonna try and unpack that wild world building. I'm here to erase you.
Then let's stop yapping and start fighting.
Fireballs! Fireballs everywhere! This level 7 Mire Maven wasn't going to give up. But neither was I. Using my knockback charged attacks, I struck him until he fell for one of the Weeping Mire's creepy spires, landing directly in the waiting fires and fulfilling the crab's desires. Bars! But all was not well elsewhere. Over at Macama Mantis's base, a new diabolical plan was brewing.
Yes, yes! It seems that Zozo is progressing nicely. He's building a good little life for himself. That'll make it all the more sweet when I destroy it.
From day 23 to day 26, I informed the crab that his former enemy, Puma Concolor, was now Puma gone no more. He's gone, is what I'm trying to say.
You've done a good thing for me, Zozo. Good in the grand scheme of the universe? Who could say? But certainly good for me.
I'm a bona fide legend at getting rid of people, even though I didn't do that to Macama's husband.
Who can say, kid? Who can say?
Before I knew what happened, I was in the mining cavern again. Whoa, being a sonic dragon is full of surprises. My body seems to move faster than my mind sometimes. Well, you know what they say. Ore's well that ends well. With the next bunch of iron ore that I was able to gather, I smelted enough ingots to craft an iron helmet, boots, and leggings, which I then equipped because why wouldn't I? I returned to the overworld and saw that the crab had built a whole kitchen to add onto the base. It was awesome. Whoa, thanks, crab. You're honestly such a giving dude.
A certain other crab I once lived with didn't seem to think so, but she's been out of her life for a while now, so it's all hunky-dory.
Don't you mean out of your life?
Yeah, sure. What did I say?
From day 27 to day 31, I decided to once again return to the mangrove swamp because I found myself pining for its muddy floor and sinister atmosphere. The one thing I didn't expect was to find a fully grown Gyarados in some sort of muckbrick dungeon.
Yo, it's Zozo, the Sonic Hedgehog Dragon. I can't believe this.
Oh, so you're not gonna try and fight me?
Are you kidding? We're balls from nostalgic 90s video game and cartoon IPs. Birds of a feather, my man. By the way you messed up those wave whispers when you were here earlier? Textbook, man. Textbook.
Thank you. It's really nice to be appreciated.
I was hoping, if it wasn't too much trouble, you could, train me. I totally understand if not, though.
No, man. By all means, head back to my base and I'll meet you there. Macama Mantis told me I needed to develop a full life before she came back and wrecked it. And having someone who looks up to me that she can destroy to hurt me emotionally later is perfect for that.
Sweet. Last one to the base is a rotten egg.
Before I left, I asked Gyarados for some special materials that Andor Trankin could use to improve the base in one of his little construction projects, and he gave me a bunch of mud bricks.
Excellent work, Zozo. As you can see, I've already put all of the resources you've gathered to good use.
I went and saw that Androgyny had created a bunker buried underneath my base. Wow, I guess this could be useful if ever there's some kind of nuclear event. From day 32 to day 35, I rushed back to the Necromancer's neck of the woods with San Andreas fault line. He moved pretty fast for a big rodent-looking thing. Androckles, are you also part Sonic or part Dragon?
Now is not the time for taxonomy, my implausibly chimeric friend. The Necromancer is in danger, and not just because his album is not selling well.
Then I'd better pick up the pace. I zoomed ahead, leaving Android Dream of Electric Sheep in the dust. I was nearly to the place where we had met the Necromancers, but I could sense something was horribly off. Something smells like seawater and tanning lotion. Oh no, the Wave Whisperers! As soon as I sensed them, they appeared like a wave of Wave Whisperers.
Cha, bro. We owe you a beating, and we're here to pay our dues.
Where's the Necromancer?
He's surfing the big wave. The big wave, cha!
You said big wave twice.
It's that big Deuterino. He's a goner. Cha!
It couldn't be true. I used my iron sword to slice through the Wave Whisperers like an iron sword through Wave Whisperers. Beyond the group of gnarly Charlies, I found the Necromancer. He was truly not long for this world. I could tell by the way he was lying on the ground, dying.
It was a good tour, Zozo. It's over now. I'm playing my last song.
Necromancer, wait! Why can't you use your magic to bring yourself back?
I told you already, Zozo. I don't do that anymore. Apparently, Macama Mantis couldn't accept that. Like I said, it was a good run.
He was gone. Makima! From day 36 to day 39, I couldn't help but go back to the Weeping Mire. Maybe the loss of the Necromancer made me want to take more risks, just to feel something. When the going gets tough, the tough get going to the Weeping Mire. For some reason, that's when a mysterious figure with a long-beaked mask emerged.
I too do things out of absolute boredom. You might say I'm a free thinker like that.
Who are you?
I'm me wherever I'll be. I'm Dr. Plague Doctor, and I got 2 degrees in opinionology, so expect some takes so hot, only the Weeping Mire could handle them.
Wow, you're like incredibly cool. But are you though?
Who told you I wasn't? The zombie horse. That guy is always stepping on my free expression. I'll give you some free medical advice if you want to go deal with him.
Well, I do have some memory trouble. I'll do it.
You said I'll do it twice.
Did I? I quested through the Weeping Mire until I found the infamous, at least according to Dr. Plague Doctor, zombie horse. Claws out. Let's do this. The zombie horse was tough, but my time in the Weeping Mire had taught me how to fight mire mavens, and he couldn't have been higher than a level 6. Soon enough, I had won the battle and returned to Dr. Plague Doctor to tell the good doctor the good news.
Whee! Excellent! I'll diagnose you with free thought.
Okay, but what about my memory?
What's to say there? If you didn't remember something, it didn't happen.
I see. So if I don't remember destroying Makima Mantis' husband, it must have been somebody else. From day 40 to day 43, I returned to the base from that weirdly inconsequential quest from that Plague Doctor guy. Oh wow, is that a pantry? It's full of delicious food! I must have made this place in my sleep. That's when Andromeda Galaxy popped out, looking annoyed at me.
'Twas me who built this place, you dolt! And for good reason, too. A number of my fellow Andres Davidiani will be arriving at this base post-haste, so there's no time to waste in sprucing up the place.
Okay, jeez. No need to bite my head off, Andalusia. Not long after that, a whole bunch of those weird rodent thingies arrived and just sort of hung out around my base, eating my food and taking up space in my pool. Yeah, I don't think I'd be that mad if Makima Mantis came over and destroyed all these guys. Before I could dwell anymore on those morbid thoughts, Gyarados came rushing over to me in a blind panic.
Zozo, I made a terrible mistake. I was so eager to come over here. I left a bunch of my mystical diamonds in the mangrove swamp. Whatever shall I do, bruh?
Don't worry, Gary. I'll go there and get them myself. From day 44 to day 49, I traveled through the mangrove swamp in search of the mystical diamonds that Gyarados had left behind. Not the place I'd choose to lose a bunch of diamonds, but then again, I'm not a water-type Pokemon that evolves from Magikarp.
You're also not an innocent hedgehog dragon. Yeah, whatever you are.
It was Makima, and she looked like more of a menacing mantis than ever.
I have been watching you, Zozo. I've seen you build a respectable homestead and gather close friends who live there with you. I hope you haven't forgotten that I'm going to bring it all down, crashing down to heck.
Lay off me, will ya? I know I didn't destroy your husband, so you should have no reason to do that thing with my life and you destroying my life.
We'll see who destroys who. Ostrich, come forth.
As Makima Mantis vanished into the mists of the swamp, a regular old ostrich sprinted towards me, ready for a pitched battle.
Let's dance, Zozo the Sonic Hedgehog the Dragon. And by dance, I mean fight. And by fight, I mean say your prayers, because I'm gonna destroy you alone.
He was fast, but so was I. Our high-speed battle began as we ran around each other and landed blow after blow. This might have been the most powerful opponent I'd ever faced, or maybe not. Who could really say? From day 50 to day 53, my battle with the ostrich continued.
The legends about you are true, Zozo. You've proven more than a worthy opponent. But do you know what I do to worthy opponents? I oppose them until they're completely destroyed.
And oppose me? He did. The fight was a tactical smorgasbord, blades and claws and feathers flying everywhere. But in the end, an ostrich is just one thing, and Zozo the Sonic the Hedgehog Dragon is like 3 things. He never stood a chance against me. Sorry, Ozzy, I was only using 1% of my power. When I actually started trying, I annihilated him instantly, and he dropped the mystical diamonds I'd come to pursue. Don't worry, Gary, you'll be iced up soon enough. From day 54 to day 57, I gave the mystical diamonds to Gyarados, but something was definitely wrong because he started to go totally berserk. Gyarados, what's gotten into you? Then I remembered those diamonds had been dropped by the ostrich, who was in cahoots with Makima, who definitely could have done something weird and sneaky to them.
Zozo, you'll pay for destroying Miss Makima's husband. him. This is the thing I care about most in the world now, despite the fact that you're my hero.
Yep, he's definitely brainwashed. I need to fight him to return to normal, but I can't go all out or he might be seriously hurt. I used my sword instead of my claws to reduce the damage. Gyarados had some strong attacks, but he wasn't a real dragon type, so I was still way cooler and stronger. It was a long struggle, but I was able to wear him down enough to make him tired. Now it was my chance to reason with him. Gyarados, it's me. Come back to your senses.
Must destroy for Makima.
Come on, Gary. What's more important to you? Being devoted to Makima or having friends? That snapped him out of it. Whatever spell had been cast over the mystical diamonds had worn off. The fight was done, and my friend was safe. How are you feeling, Gary?
Dude, Zozo, that was incredible. You saved me. I always knew that you didn't destroy anyone's husband, and the fact that Makima Mantis has resorted to brainwashing probably means that she knows you didn't either.
I reckon you're right. From day 58 to day 62, after baking some pastries and a pie, I decided to make some improvements to the base to lift all of our spirits after that weird incident with Gyarados. What always makes me feel better when I'm feeling down, other than my trademark favorite food, pork chops? Oh, I know, flowers! I spent the rest of the day lovingly cultivating a flower garden, which I figured would improve everyone's mood. The next day, speaking of improving, I decided it was time to upgrade my gear once again. It was really lucky that I mysteriously woke up in another mining cavern. This always happens at the most convenient times. I'm not even mad. Using my iron pickaxe, I dug up a bunch of diamonds, and not mystical cursed diamonds this time, legit diamonds. I went back to my base and crafted myself a diamond pickaxe and a diamond sword. Oh yeah, I'm so excited. Soon after that, Andy Dufresne approached, looking typically annoyed at me.
Zozo, I've built a new base upgrade, one vital for you in particular. Look ahead, boy.
I looked behind Audrey and looked at he'd added an impressive library to the base. It was one of the coolest I've ever seen. Wow, that's one heck of a library.
Yes, I built it just for you, so you can finally get educated.
Thanks, that's weirdly backhanded, but I appreciate having a cool library anyway. From day 63 to day 66, the mining cavern called to me once more. I was getting used to hanging out down here, even when I wasn't mining. Yeah, what's mine is mine, and what's mine, is also mine. That's when the crab, who seemed to have been burying something down here, approached me.
Zozo, what are you doing down here? Get out of here. Go make yourself useful.
Should I go back to the Weeping Mire?
No, nobody is going back to the Weeping Mire. You should take a trip to somewhere more calm and peaceful like. How about them there plains?
I don't know. They sound kind of plain.
That they are, but you'd be surprised what you can find there. Or more crucially, not find there.
The crab seemed oddly insistent about the plains, so I made the trek out to the biome in record time. I don't think I've ever been in a place so peaceful. Then I saw it. A strange mob I'd never seen before striding towards me. I braced for the battle that I knew was coming.
Oh, hello! Welcome to the plains. I hope you enjoy your stay here. If there's anything I can do for you, just ask. I'm a Strider.
Or not. I guess this place really was calm and peaceful. I appreciate the hospitality, Strider, but is there anything I can do for you?
Oh, good golly gosh. I'd hate to impose, but there is this one thing.
You name it, Strider. You're like the friendliest creature in the entire overworld, and even though I just met you, I would fight anything to make sure you were happy.
Yay! Follow me. The quest is this way.
From day 67 to day 70, the Strider led me through the plains toward the quest, which I just knew had to be epic and awesome.
We're almost there. Not everyone can keep stride with me. You're doing great.
I'm many things, but slow isn't one of them. Strider is practically my middle name.
Wowie zowie! Does this make us related?
I kinda hope not. My family tree must be crazy enough already. Soon enough, we came upon a stone crater wherein crouched a particularly mean-looking toad.
That's a warped toad. He has pushed me over every day for almost 70 days now, and I've told him to stop every day. Can you make him stop?
I'll do my best. I've never faced a warped creature before. What was he warped by?
He's just warped, you know? Like in terms of his ideals. That are incredibly twisted.
Oh, so he's like a free thinker?
No, more like a jerk.
Ah, yeah, that's no good. I'll have to take him out. That toad may have been warped, but now he was history. He dropped a strange item called a warped muscle. I decided to hang on to it, but wasn't entirely sure why. Defeated is the monster.
Yippee! You're a hero, Zozo!
You know, you're the first person to call me that, as far as I can remember.
This world is full of bad things, Zozo. Mire mavens, plague doctors, oh, and mantises who eat their mates. Can't forget those. The point is, heroes are needed.
Plague doctors are bad.
You may have missed the point there, but okay, thank you for your help.
From day 71 to day 74, I continued exploring the plains, which were a little plain, but also way nicer than all the nightmare dimensions I'd been hanging out in lately. No wonder I keep getting jumped. I hang around bad neighborhoods. But you know what isn't a bad neighborhood? The Zozo fandom! Do yourself a favor and after this video, type ZOZO for more banger vids, yo! That's when the ground started rumbling, followed by a huge explosion, which left a massive crater in the floor, leading down into the darkness. Whoa! And in a completely unrelated series of events, Makima Mantis also turned up. Did you cause that huge explosion, Makima Mantis?
No! I think it was a burst gas man or something. We're both lucky neither of us was hurt, because now I'm gonna hurt you myself! I will finally have vengeance for my Mantis husband!
Wait, Mantis husband? That reminds me of something Strider said!
I'm a Strider.
No, that other thing!
This world is full of bad things, Zozo. Fire mavens, plague doctors, oh, and mantises who eat their mates. Eat their mates.
Eat their mates.
Can't forget those.
That's it! I didn't destroy your husband! You ate your own husband, and then altered the memories in your mind so you wouldn't have to feel bad about it!
No! No! You're a liar! I'd never eat my husband! He was my whole world! He was kind, and smart, and delicious! No! No! Impossible! I refuse to believe it!
But it's the tragic truth, Makima Mantis!
You're just trying to put ideas in my head! For this, I'll destroy you extra hard!
She came at me, and despite my diamond gear and all my powers, her strength was still massively above mine. In the end, there was no choice but to turn and flee. I can't keep going on like this. There has to be some kind of way I can defeat this husband-munching evildoer. From day 75 to day 78, I was feeling pretty depressed after running away from Makima Mantis, so I went into my room to have a private brood about it. Even though the mystery of her husband's destruction was solved, she's still going to hurt other people. I thought I could stop her with information, but it seems like overwhelming victory in combat is the only way. And I'm just too weak. Shortly after my inner monologue, Gyarados showed up at my door and entered the room.
Zozo, what are you doing? We've got to stop Makima Mantis. You're acting more like Shadow the Hedgehog Dragon right now.
I just don't know what would make me feel better, other than seeing a brand new storage room in our base.
Buddy, do I have something to show you?
Gyarados brought me to a brand new storage room, and it was every bit as awesome as I thought it was. Thanks, Gary. This is even cooler than way past cool.
You're welcome, Zozo.
Just then, Anthropomorphic Dinosaur burst into the room, holding the warped muscle.
Salutations, plebeians! I have gathered data and run schematics on the warped muscle and used the power of science to draw out its latent potential. If Zozo eats it now, he'll be able to achieve untold levels of awesomeness.
I gobbled up the warped muscle, and it warped me into a cool guy. I was supersonic tough and had 100 hearts, as well as a lightning dragon fireball technique. I am forever changed by this warped muscle. From day 79 to day 84, I decided to use my awesome new size and power to annihilate some birds that were looking at me funny. Specifically, some macaws in a tree out in the plains. Eat my fire! I blasted fireballs until there was nothing but charred feathers. I felt kind of bad about it, but it had to be done. Maybe. After that act of wholesale bird slaughter, I continued wandering until I found a mammoth, just chilling.
Aye, bro. I was just here, contemplating the universe and junk. Ever think about how butterflies and moths are basically the same thing, but we love one and hate the other?
That's true. Darn. It's like how the true gauge of friendship is how much you feel the need to clean your place before they come over.
That's so deep, dude. Yeah, I have this diamond helmet. It doesn't even fit my big weird mammoth head anyway.
Oh, awesome. This will come in really handy. From day 85 to day 89, I noticed that the base had recently been damaged by some kind of enemy attack, and even more recently, was currently under attack by the Wave Whisperers. Guys, the mystery was solved. How long are you going to keep bugging me about what Makima Mantis did to her own husband?
Not cool, bruh. Framing a widow for destroying her husband in the first place? You must have eaten some warped muscle to have a strange outlook like that.
Sure I did, but what's your point? Lightning Dragon Fireball! I shot out a gigantic blast of dragon fire that sent the Wave Whisperers running and screaming for the hills. That did it. I had to chase after them and politely tell each one that they've misread the situation. I'm sure they'll listen to my side of the story now that I have Lightning Dragon Fireballs. On my way to intercept the Wave Whisperers, I ran across a green anaconda while I was still in the flowering enchantment grove.
Come out, friends. Where are you?
Excuse me, Anaconda, did you just say you lost your friends?
Why, yes. My friends are a healthy and tasteful family of rabbits. Have you seen them?
Now that you mention it, I did see a rabbit burrow a few paces that way.
Many thanks. See you around the mire.
The green anaconda slithered off to find his friends. It feels good to do a good deed. From day 90 to day 94, I continued my relentless chase all the way from the flowering enchanted grove to the plains. Man, the stamina on these wave whisperers is crazy. How come they're able to outrun someone with the power of both Sonic and a dragon?
CrossFit, dude!
When we eventually came to a stop, I realized we were standing right outside Magma Mantis's tower.
It's over now, Zozo, my dude. We've got the home turf advantage. You can't even hope to.
I annihilated them with a fireball without a second thought. Now I've just got this feeling I'm gonna be totally safe forever.
Not so fast, which is what you are.
I turned and saw with horror a terrible creature that was half dragon and half chicken. Only a group as maniacal as the British could come up with that.
It is I, Calvin Cockatrice, Magma Mantis's best and closest friend.
Wait, you are? How come she's never mentioned you?
What? Of course she hasn't mentioned me to a creature as lowly as you, Zozo. We're so close, we tell each other secrets. She definitely doesn't just call me over when she has a really strong enemy she needs me to fight. Our friendship is real.
And that was how my toughest battle yet began. From day 95 to day 97, the struggle against Calvin Cockatrice continued and was starting to get absurdly personal.
You're not even that fast. I've seen you run.
Sticks and stones, Calvin. I'm above insulting goofy-looking chickens like you.
Oh yeah? Well, you're not even fast.
You keep saying that.
Because it doesn't stop being true.
Calvin Cockatrice blasted me with a wither skull that I dodged because, contrary to what he says, I am actually pretty fast. I fired back with a lightning dragon fireball, which he didn't dodge because he couldn't dodge, because he was the one who wasn't fast after all. We moved into melee range, Sonic Dragon Claws and Cockatrice Claws colliding in the craziest clash of the century. The armor pieces were breaking. I lost my boots, then my chest plate. But cleverly and conclusively, I cleaned his clock and won. To say it not in alliteration.
You owned me, Zozo. Now Magma Mantis is going to think I'm a loser.
I think she already does, my dude. You might as well give me some information on how to take her down. If you're truly her friend, you'd know all her weaknesses, right?
And betray my bestest friend in the whole wide world? I'd rather leap headfirst into the weeping mire.
She's so evil, and yet you'd do anything for her. I think I'm starting to understand the extent of her manipulation, and I feel bad for you, and worse for her husband.
Hey, he had a good run.
So did you. Adios! I released one last ball of dragon fire and blew Calvin Cockatrice to the weeping mire. On day 98, I returned to the base for one last time, just to hear what everyone had to say to me before the final fight with liar, manipulator, and husband eater extraordinaire, Magma Mantis. First, Gyarados.
I forgot I was in this video.
Then, my good old friend, Andor, now available on Disney+.
Shame, Zozo. I thought by the end of this tale, you'd finally have gotten my name right as a show of character development.
What can I say, Andy Griffith? You can never predict what I'm gonna do. I began to dance, just to rub it in. And finally, the crab.
Have fun destroying that Mantis, Zozo. If any arthropod had to be sent back to the mire today, I'd rather it be her.
With those inspiring words echoing through the halls of my heart, I set off for Magma Mantis's hideout. On day 99, I arrived at the tower and took a closer look at it. I realized it looked quite abandoned. Still, I had to get in. I walked up to the entrance and noticed it was being guarded by a small squadron of wave whisperers.
We're gonna destroy that Zozo Gazuni, then knock off to go shred some gnarly pounders, dude. And I mean, gnarly in the good sense this time.
I was devastated. How could I beat a squadron of hopped-up surf monkeys and still have the energy to destroy Magma Mantis too? I should have had more carbohydrates for breakfast. That would have given me the exact kind of slow-release energy necessary for a situation like this. But I had something else that's also necessary in a situation like this. The help of a friend. Strider came striding out of the tall grass, ready to put his life on the line so I could make my own life easier.
I'll distract them, Zozo. Then you go in there and take out that villain once and for all.
But those wave whisperers look so strong, Strider, and you don't even have arms.
Don't worry, Zozo. I have an ingenious plan. I'm going to block all their blows with my face and body.
Okay, we can try that, I guess. Strider ran in valiantly, and the wave whisperers totally creamed him. I mean, the poor guy got absolutely bodied, and I felt bad watching, but there were bigger fish to squeeze. While Strider was beaten into submission, I ran in to deliver the goods. On day 100, I busted into the tower and steeled myself for the showdown with the Mantis, the myth, the legend, Magma Mantis.
Zozo!
There comes a time for us to have our final battle, and that time is now.
I couldn't agree more. I'm about to do to you what I totally didn't do to my husband.
You're going to let me live a full and fulfilling life with each day more meaningful than the last?
I I said what I didn't do, fool! I'm going to destroy you!
I disagree, but whatever. Let's do this! The battle began with a claw-to-claw smackdown, which was fairly even between the two of us. I managed to knock her off the tower, but she wasn't defeated yet. Her praying mantis claws had a slightly longer range than mine, so backing up would mean I'd get hit more. But I knew I still had my speed, so I dodged extra fast and got out of her reach. Then I unleashed the lightning breath, followed by another lightning breath. And just for good measure, a third lightning breath. I waited for the static to dissipate and saw that Makima Mantis was still standing and ready to charge straight for me. I only have one shot. Here goes nothing. My fourth lightning dragon fireball shot forward and was a direct hit on Makima Mantis. That one did it, and she was burned up in the dragon flame inferno. At long last, I was cleared of having destroyed one mantis by destroying another.